This week in the Restroom, we got our White House clearance on to flush a dumb political murder mystery from 1997. We've got telegraphed action scenes, slumming SNL actors, obvious villains, and a pre-tax evader Wesley Snipes doing his best Jessica Fletcher as he connects the dots around Washington, D.C. like a warmed-over Murder, She Wrote episode. It's Murder at 1600. And before we flush it, we're going to take it out and play with it a little. Restroom Cinema. We're here to flush it, so you don't have to see it. Greetings, everyone. I am Honor Knight, your head cinematic flusher right here in the Restroom. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-cinematic flushers, Midwest movie mogul Colleen Griffin.
Hey, hey, hey.
And sassy cinephile Sarah Polton.
Hi.
Our special guest this time out is the host of the Congressional Dish podcast. Congressional Dish is a show that peels back the curtain on our government by explaining complicated legislation that anyone can understand and exposing representatives who accept legal bribes from industries that benefit from their bills. You can find out more about this award-nominated show over at congressionaldish.com. Link in the show notes. Please welcome the lovely and talented Jennifer Briney.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Let's kick off this flush with a round of Thunder Dump. Thunder Dump. I'll put 60 seconds on the Restroom clock, and we're going to go around the cinematic bowl to see who has the worst alternate title for this week's cinematic turd. The loser will then get to read the RSS, that's Restroom Stall Stats, in a funny voice of my choosing. Here we go. Griff!
Oral Office.
Ugh. Polton.
House of
That's cheap. Jen.
Officer Dennis Miller is sleepy.
Well, let's just slide with that one. I had Congressional Douche, which I thought was all right. It kind of themed in well. All right, we'll go with that one. Griffin.
Tricky Dicks.
Good, not bad, not bad. Polton.
Blade Runner 4.
No. Jen.
Policing with unlit cigars.
That's pretty weak. I had White House Negro.
Oh,
come on! Griffin.
White House Going Down.
That's good. That was good. Good.
Right.
Polton.
I, for some reason, thought this was based on an Agatha Christie book and was sorely mistaken.
All right, you're way off. Jen, you got anything?
The Many Shapes of Diane Lane's Ass.
I had Murder, She Wrote, Back in Black. All right, nothing. And ironically, that is time. So we end on a real shitty note on that one. Polton, what was your second one?
Blade Runner 4?
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's a good one.
No, that's not a good one. You're the loser. All right, so Polton is the big loser tonight, and she's going to be reading the stats in the voice of the president of her choosing. You pick the president? Have at it.
Should I go Bush or Donald?
Let's go.
Jen's creeping in with Donald.
All right.
I want to hear this.
All right, go. All right, Donald it is.
All right.
Have at it.
Murder at 1600 is a 1997 tremendous American thriller. It's Making America Great Again. It's directed by Dwight H. Little, but I don't have a little penis. The film stars Wesley Snipes, my black friend, and the blacks love me, and Diane Lane. I'd grab that. The film is based on a novel, Murder, White House, by Margaret Truman, daughter of U.S. President Harry Truman. Excellent man. Excellent.
Failed president.
The filmmaker invited Wesley Snipes, considering him to have the physicality, intelligence that I also have, and humor. I have the best humor. Required for Harlan Regis, and Snipes accepted. I could speak perfectly. I have the best words. For the depth of the character and the opportunity to do a suspense role, which is usually reserved for more mature actors. No one's more mature than Wesley Snipes. He's tremendous. Murder at the 1600 premiered in Los Angeles, terrible city. New York is way better. California on April 14th. 1997, the film was well received in the box office, just like my presidency. It was number 3 with almost 8 million during its opening weekend. That's not a lot of money. It went on to make a total of 25 million, which is also a very small amount of money because I'm very rich. In the U.S., Murder at 1600 received generally poor reviews, unlike my presidency, from critics. And those critics were liars, and they're terrible. And it holds up a 34% Rotten Tomatoes.
All right.
Well done.
There you go. There is your
That's
Restroom Stall stats for this week. Nice
Rough
job.
night.
Oh, man. Back in 1997, this was considered edgy material. But today, a murder in the White House would just be a slow news week.
No,
I think
you
in
know
light of
what?
everything else, right?
It is
that was
preferable to what's going on right now.
Well, that's
What's going on is way more interesting than anything that happens in this movie.
Well, you know what? There would be a murder at the White House, and they will be like, "This is the night when he became presidential."
You should be able to fill out a form correctly. Film opens with actor Charles Rocket threatening to kill himself in the middle of Pennsylvania Avenue. No doubt still distraught over the fact that he was a cast member on the worst season of SNL ever.
Well, he's fired after he said "fuck" on
Yeah,
air.
that's right. He was fired. You're right. So
hey, this is our 2 weekend update anchors.
yeah, that's Charles Rocket as a distraught businessman or work for some government thing, having it out. And it's always the beginning of the films where they establish your lead character by doing something like semi-heroic. And this is the opening scene, the pre-credit sequence.
First of all, like when it started, it was like, oh, okay, there's a bureaucrat who's killing himself. And then that cop was like, oh, here's another one. So I thought at some point in the movie, we'd find out why law enforcement officials are offing themselves so regularly. And they never came back to that.
It's like The Happening with bureaucrats.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Snipes rolls up on the scene. Line is, tell Carl to shoot him. He's fucking up traffic. The only person we should be shooting is Dennis Miller's costume designer for making him look like the after photo in a dramatic weight loss program.
We should be shooting the 90s.
No, well, geez, that outfit is so big on him.
All of those outfits.
He's all
large
loose.
suits was in.
He's waddling across the street there. I thought his whole pants were going to fall off. My God. The Durable Goods Commission. Unlike Wesley Snipes' hair, which looks like someone played a prank on him by shaving a partial part in the middle of his forehead.
That was totally
What, to get a partial part on in your forehead?
I think at least one member of Boys to Men or
I know. I saw a lot of
it.
black men in '97. I didn't see that bullshit on their head.
Remember MC Hammer's hair? It was ridiculous.
I only remember MC Hammer's pants. Okay, that's all we remember. Is those awesome parachute pants.
I never noticed his hair because I was too busy looking at those beautiful guns of his. I gotta say, like, my favorite thing in the whole show is looking at his arms.
So, guys, well,
you have 3 girls co-hosting with you.
Jesus.
This is like his audition tape for Blade.
I guess it was. I don't know. I thought it looked terrible on his head, but okay. Well, that was the look. I can't really argue that.
The weird goatee, the weird like boy band goatee.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Everything about this movie is so dated, and not in a like nostalgic time period piece. This doesn't hold up kind of way.
No, it doesn't.
Haircuts. Diane Lane is the only one who like has a haircut that would not be laughed.
Her hair looks good. We'll talk about her as we come up.
She looked like she was going to prom with that haircut.
Yeah,
I don't know. She's gorgeous. She can't do any wrong. Like you could put a sack on her head. She looked great. But
she's the only one that didn't have like Aniston levels of product in her hair.
Her hair looked amazing, but they kept putting her in those mom jeans.
Yeah.
It's like they took this beautiful woman and then slapping those things on her. And it's like, why?
That was the cut back then, man, for a pantsuit.
This thing looks handled, and by handled, we mean opening this murder mystery film by having a black man punch a white dude in the face and walk away. Well done.
I know, right?
Of course, who can blame Snipes since who can blame Snipes since Julia Louis-Dreyfus's husband was horrible in SNL? I don't blame him for punching him. I never liked Charles Rocket.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus's husband.
It is. It's Charles Rocket's her husband.
No, it's not.
Oh, who is it?
Brad Hall. Charles Rocket, I think, died.
Oh, they all look alike on SNL. I can't tell.
No, actually, Brad Hall doesn't look anything like.
All right, now I have to apologize to Julia Dreyfus, who no doubt listens to every episode of our show.
He's a great director now.
Yeah, I don't care about Brad Hall. But I do like Julia. So, okay, so there you go. All right, so I got to retcon that. Regardless, it's a weird opening. I think we all agree that it doesn't really establish anything about Wesley Snipes' character or Dennis Miller, who just shows up and tries to be funny and he's not. But we'll talk about that.
Do you think they maybe tacked on that opening because, like, they test screened the audiences and they didn't like hitting them over the head with the sex scene right during the.
I don't think it was so much that as I think they needed just a bit more action. Film has very little action. So,
I don't think it was light on action.
Oh, yeah, it's way light on action.
Were super lame in terms of how they were choreographed.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about that as we get to it. Dwight H. Little film. It took a little man to squeeze out a big cinematic turd like this one. And that was either that or a penis joke, and that was the one that won out when I wrote my notes. So there you go, folks. Murder at 1600. Because as many past presidents know, the best place to impress a chick is to fuck her in the Oval Office, right? 3-minute mark.
Oh, boy.
Bad. Woo!
I was digging into this, like, this might be pretty good. And then they cut to the sex scene, and they kept cutting to the eyeballs on the portraits. And I was like, oh, just kidding. This is why we're flushing this.
Yeah. Was that a stand-in for Tate Donovan's bony ass?
Oh, yeah, that was not Tate Donovan doing that chick. And a lame sex scene, too. It was just the shots of her face as she's looking at those portraits on the wall.
Yeah, but it's like
really
he's
weird.
getting off on, like...
Yeah, I guess being in the... I don't know, I guess...
Like,
oh, yeah, Jefferson. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, this movie was so aggressively under the male gaze.
It was like Monica Lewinsky documentary.
Yes.
Right
Yeah,
there.
they had like that floating boob in that sex scene.
Is there a floating boob? Really, just one? Floating.
Clearly a fake boob because it was like you could kind of see where it went indented around it.
Oh,
It was
wow,
huge.
That's all she paid attention for was anatomy in this film. Jen only watched
I'm really vain.
abs and there you go,
You're in
folks.
good company.
Whew, oh man. So anyway, this woman, the same woman who's getting I can't even get that.
railed.
Yeah, all right, we'll go with that. In the Oval Office, ends up dead in a White House bathroom just moments later. So anyway, they find it. They lock down the White House, and there's this voice at the very end of the credits where Little's directorial credit comes up, where a voice says, "All sectors secure." That's why I said a creepy robot voiceover at the end of the credits makes it sound like they were securing a spaceship, not the White House.
Things I noticed is those sectors
boy.
were not secure because Diane Lane opens the door, sees a dog,
boy.
and goes, "Oh, we're secure." She didn't even go in the fucking room.
No,
She's
she
like,
didn't. You're
"Oh,
right.
we're
You're right on
good."
that. Yeah.
Also, why didn't she, like, say right away, where's the president? If that's his dog, where's the president?
1600. What? Apparently, Donald Trump isn't the only one who uses an unsecured phone line. Was it standard to call a bar to get a hold of a cop in the 90s? The 8-minute mark? Nobody got that? Yeah. You can't, and then give critical information over an open phone line? I don't know, maybe I guess my joke got completely lost amongst myself. No, wait, I guess everybody missed that scene because you're still railing from the floating boob in the arms of Wesley Snipes. Fuck?
I kept noticing that on, like, later scenes. I didn't notice that in the...
Oh, yeah, so yeah, we're there at the bar. We just
noticed that. I was like, all of these are unsecured phone calls.
Yeah, they all are. Yeah, I know. But
there's so much mishandling of confidential and like information.
Yeah, just like now. So it hasn't changed.
Exactly,
That hasn't changed.
Was like the consultant Devin Nunes.
Jurisdiction.
Well, and I liked that like Dennis Miller was like too drunk to go.
Yeah.
Like there were so many times where his partner's like off doing police work and Dennis Miller's just like not going with him.
Yeah, because
I
you gotta
couldn't figure out their
yeah.
partnership.
Harlan Regis, homicide. Because all the cool black names like John Shaft, Dolomite, and Action Jackson were already taken.
Oh my god.
What a terrible name!
Like, seriously.
Harlan
like,
Regis?
The writers were like worse than like Trump's cabinet.
That'd have been two white guys who wrote
Oh,
this because
God.
he sounds like a bartender, in Harlem. I mean, it's a terrible name.
It's like he's a black guy with like white cred.
Yeah.
I felt like this was originally written for a white guy, and then they just were like, "Oh, let's cast Wesley Snipes and just change his name.
Just switch the name out to some stupid, obvious black action hero name.
Let's just keep in the Civil War stuff. That makes sense."
That's coming up.
Oh, he's obsessed with
I know
Stonewall Jackson.
That has very little payoff.
Sure.
It's coming up. Yeah,
accurate.
The government doesn't shut down just because it's Friday. And then I wrote, since when?
Since Ted Cruz got elected to the Senate.
Okay, I think Friday they're gone, right? Everybody's gone by noon. Does anybody work at Jen and Friday after Friday?
No, it's like they're always done by noon on Friday.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's exactly.
Even though we started a war yesterday and they're going on vacation today.
Yeah,
that's why they started today. Anything interesting that happens on a Friday because no one can contest it because they're all going home.
That's right. Would like you to avoid using two words if you give any statement to the media. The words are woman and murder, and we can also add woman and rape and woman and qualified to that list. Hey,
oh my god, seriously.
That's
no, but you know what? I'm not even offended because you're the accuracy of this movie. It's so gross about how they deem women as like not being qualified to have the big job.
Every scene, Wesley Snipes is like, "A woman has a job." What?
What?
Wait, you're a woman?
A woman knows how to fire a gun.
What?
And then with the girl
missing.
We're gonna minion up this show. What?
All right. What? This is weird, guys. A woman's doing stuff.
Okay,
here.
I know.
I will say, in DC, I feel like it's pretty normal to see someone who's like from a small town in Iowa who like went to the Olympics and like now is in the CIA. Like that to me actually completely makes sense. I've met so many people like that. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm from a small town in Wisconsin, and now I work at the Pentagon, and I can't tell you what I do. And you're like, damn it.
Oh, my God.
She was killed in my house. Don't you ever forget that. Why does actor Danielle Benzali, not Benghazi, feel the need to hiss all of his dialogue like he's a Bond villain around the 12-minute mark.
Ah.
The bald-headed guy, like, we'll talk about him as we go.
Accurate.
Yeah, he's terrible in this. The next line is Nina Chance. Oh, because there's a chance that actress Diane Lane might be horrible in this film. Hey-oh! All right, it was the best I had. It was the best I had.
She was doing the best with
Why was she also named?
agree.
Why was she named like a Bond film bimbo? It's all just it's all half-baked names and it's lazy. It's lazy screenwriting is what it is.
It was lazy screenwriting, but I feel like that Diane Lane and Wesley Snipes did the best they could with it. The supporting characters was where I was like, oh my god, this acting is terrible.
Yeah, you're right. We'll talk about some
of
them. We're right.
I'm not gonna debate you on the Snipes thing because I think he was Snipesing it up.
He was Snipesing it up.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, he was chewing scenery, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna let Snipes be Snipes.
You know.
Yeah, but we gotta let Jen slide on this because all she saw was his guns, so she didn't notice the acting. She didn't notice the acting at all.
Someone else that didn't look like that, I would have hated the movie even more.
He was in good shape. We will acknowledge that, but she missed all of his acting because she was just paying attention to his pecs.
It's true. I had to clean up the drool so many times.
Look at her photo album. Anyone remember those guys? Welcome to the late 90s, people, where physical photos were still a thing. 14-minute mark. So what happens is he's called in to investigate this murder, and he's getting flack because the people in the Secret Service doesn't like him, and they don't want him, nosing around, but this is like kind of a protocol thing. So, he's not really well liked. The liaison to him is Diane Lane's character, Nina Chance, which is the Bond name. They end up going to the dead woman's apartment now to investigate the apartment, and they're flipping. And it's been cleaned out already before Snipes and Dennis Miller get there. And the photo album, that's what I remembered. Which, of course, guys, if some of you people are too young to even remember what the hell physical photos are, and the fact we used to print them out and actually keep them in a book on a coffee table.
Did you guys catch in the beginning when they're at the bar and Wesley Snipes is on a typewriter at the bar?
Yeah. Oh, that was the opening. Yeah.
Anywhere with that.
Yeah. No, well, there
What
is.
is that about?
There's a payoff today. Yeah, he's getting evicted from his apartment complex. And there's a payoff to that again, not really a payoff. There's actually really no payoff to that, but we'll talk about it. I was in the Olympics. Here you go, Paul, and that's how I got into the Secret Service. Of course, the way our government is now being run, you could be in the Special Olympics and secure a position in the White House. Hey-oh! And then, of course, she's in the car. Now she's giving her character backstory to Wesley Snipes as they're driving because she's a liaison. And then she was in the Olympics, and she was a sharpshooter in the Olympics. And then she's like, I brought home the gold. I just wrote bitch after that.
So well, it was good for you, little lady.
Yeah, it was kind of bitchy for her to say that. She's like, I brought home the gold.
He was a bitch.
He was not a bitch. She was.
She had to prove herself.
She doesn't really prove herself to the end of the movie, though.
She would say he asked her about herself, and he derided every detail about her life until he was like,
It definitely wasn't showing that he respected her as a Secret Service agent or as a partner or in any capacity whatsoever.
I think it would be great if she got into Secret Service for something dumb in the Olympics, like skeet shooting. Or like shuffleboard or something. I was the best shuffleboarder, and the Secret Service called me up. So.
Or what? She was like the arcade champion on Duck Hunt. Would that have been
All right, we're gonna give Griffin with the win on that one. Go ahead, Paul.
But can we talk about how she's a sharpshooter?
Right.
Never pays off.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, actually. There's one shot at the end of the movie, but...
No, it does.
There's
when
a lot
she blows up the car and then takes the light out of the helicopter.
All right, but that's
the only time she was accurate.
Harlan, what's going on? Well, what's going on is this poor African-American actress is forced into sounding like she's appearing in a 70s blaxploitation film around the 17-minute mark. That's when he takes her to his place, his apartment complex, and of course there's this rando woman comes out in the hall like they all do in these movies and starts talking it up. What's going on? Why are they going to take our building? She's just it was terrible. It's a stereotype, and it was aggravating to see that they were still doing that shit in 97.
I just didn't understand that whole storyline. The whole thing about him getting evicted, and all of it was completely unnecessary in every way.
It was so specific in terms of the department. And
so you're all confused. So, folks, it doesn't matter. He is getting, his whole building is being condemned. They want to evict everybody in there so they can rip it down and put up a parking lot for another government office that's 3 miles away from where they're at. He's fighting the eviction, I guess because he's a cop and they think he has some jurisdiction over this, that he can fight the good fight. That's the whole, and it becomes a running joke. It's kind of a running joke for most of the movie. It does have a payoff. It really doesn't really have a full payoff. It has kind of a payoff at the end of it, but we'll talk. So he's bitching about this.
But even in that scene on the stairs, he's like, oh, these people, they think I can do something about it because I'm a cop. And then he tells the lady on the stairs, like, I'm on it. So why do they think, why could they possibly think that you have something that you can do because maybe you're telling them that you can? You know, like
yeah, I know,
he makes fun of this woman and then like basically gives her a reason to think that he can change it.
Also, he is not funny enough to make fun of this situation. I thought if they gave him a little bit sharper dialogue, I thought he could have pulled this condition, the situation that he was in off better. Unlike the actual situation, he was going to jail for tax fraud. But that's a whole separate conversation there.
Seriously, that's what I was like. He should have requested a meeting with the IRS.
I'm a homicide cop in the homicide capital of the world. Is that still true, or did Chicago overtake? I think it's Chicago, right?
Chicago, Gary, Indianapolis. I live. You know what? Come visit, guys.
No. Yeah, we're good. 2 months ago. Wait, we have to pause for 10 minutes while I shove this VHS tape in and crank it up. 23-minute mark. So they go to the White House, and there's the security cameras. And again, this is 97, folks, so we're still recording all our security cameras on actual VHS tapes. But the fact is he had to put it in the machine, and we had to wait. We actually had to wait for that to actually turn on. Not like it is now, folks. It's all digital now.
It would have been better if they had to, like, adjust the tracking on it.
Be kind, rewind.
Yeah. Carla was strictly hands-off. You know what was also hands-off? Taking decent acting classes. Actor Tony Nappo's entire performance sounds like he's auditioning for an extra role in The Sopranos at the 25-minute mark. So they have to get a fall guy to hang this murder on because they don't want to hang it on who actually did it. So as a result, they bring in the cleaning guy who was doing that weird swimming thing on top of the table, that meeting room table earlier in the film. His name is Tony Nappo, and so Snipes is interviewing him, but he sounds terrible. The guy's a terrible actor. And Jen, this is what you were talking about. Like, the main actors are all right, but, man, these supporting actors.
When he was getting questioned and he was, like, sweaty and all crazy nervous, like, it really threw me off. I was like, are you guilty? Like, what am I supposed to be getting from this?
Yeah, he's overacting the roles. The problem is he's a young, new actor, and he has to act against Wesley Snipes, who's an established actor, and you're naturally nervous, like you said, because it's really a two-person scene, and it's just you playing off Wesley Snipes, and Snipes is doing Snipes, as Miss Griffin said earlier.
But isn't there a director to be like, hey, knock it off?
When you have an actor who's a big star, he ends up overriding the director a lot of the times. So they end up fighting. So the director, he's not a big director, a big name director. Dwight H. Little has done some stuff and he's done some action stuff, but at this point in his career, Snipes is bigger than him. So if Snipes comes in and say, look, I want to play the scene this way, that's it, pretty much.
Are you blaming that guy's shitty acting on Wesley Snipes?
I am, because I'm blaming it on the fact that Snipes can be as intimidating as an actor on the set. And I guess this guy he's not at the level of Wesley Snipes. So naturally, he's going to be nervous and he's going to overact and try to overperform or try to outact Wesley Snipes, as a lot of these actors do, because they want to get attention. Because it's a major motion picture, and this guy is acting next to Wesley Snipes, who was a major actor at that time. So naturally, he's going to play it up, right?
Because you're jealous of his arms.
All that helium and Jen just popped that balloon right out. Okay, thanks. All right, we're going to keep moving. Don't make me have to stain my linen. We only had to wait 28 minutes for the first Wesley Snipes action sequence. Sadly, it was not worth the wait. So basically, he goes home. We should mention that he is... he's a fan of making big maps, I guess. What is that? What is it called when you have these?
He's a history buff. It's like kind of like a diorama type thing.
Right.
It's the Battle of Bull Run, I think.
Is it Bull Run? Okay, he does that, but he has the White House. Anyway, the reason why he doesn't want to move his apartment is because his whole apartment is filled up by this big fucking model of the Battle of Bull Run and the White House at the time during 1855 or 1825. I don't remember the actual...
1861.
Thank you. All right, 1861. So I thought that was an interesting character trait about him, but there's no real payoff to that. And it really doesn't come...
nothing to the story.
Like Polton was saying, he just showed up and it was there.
He knew about the tunnels.
Yeah, but anybody can look up the tunnels. That's not... You don't have to build a fucking model in your apartment. You can go to the library and learn about that shit.
And plus, you know about the tunnels in order to make the model, so he didn't learn about the tunnels in his living room.
Right.
He had to...
I know.
Right,
it was like an unnecessary set piece. Maybe Wesley Snipes is really in the model.
But I like that idea. I like that character trait about the character. I wish he had explored that more and it was just a bit more character. But like Polton said, Snipes showed up on set, he liked it, and they just shot the scene.
Well, I think also that probably was in the book, and it probably it came off a lot better in text.
All right, I can see that. All right.
In practice.
So as a result, he returns home one night. He finds one of the pieces to his model on the floor. Realizes that somebody's been in his apartment, and there's an action scene because the idiot's still there.
Seriously, like the Keystone Cops, they are hiring the most incompetent
terrible bugging people.
ever.
They're much better now. Jen, you might want to start searching your apartment because I'm sure you're being surveilled at this point with your show.
Well, I do have a microwave, so
Yeah,
I'm sure
see?
that's true.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, believe me, they're already looking at you. Believe
Did you open
Yeah.
it and ask Obama to please come back?
I do. We talked through it. It's like a walkie-talkie.
Right to Obama. Okay, there you go. So yeah, Jen's being surveilled. Chances are that stuff is a lot more subtle than it was back in '97, where the guy just jammed the camera up in the vent. We'll talk about that. He didn't find it right here. He's just beating up this guy, and the guy escapes. He's Secret Service. Can you make me a hard copy? We don't have that amazing photo resolution software in 2017, so I really doubt they had it back in '97 at the 32-minute mark. He develops a series of photos that the dead woman had taken. And as a result of one of the photos, there's a Secret Service agent. But of course, in these movies, you can always just, zoom in and you have this amazing, camera shot of the guy's face, which is impossible now. I guess I'm just talking to the nerds listening to the show because nobody on the show knows what the hell I'm talking about. All right, we'll keep going.
No, here's what I don't get.
All right,
So the
go ahead.
guy on the boat had his Secret Service thing in his ear.
Right.
But it's the 1990s. Like, we didn't even have cell phones. So who the fuck is he talking to on that thing?
The Secret
where that
Service.
technology didn't
We
exist.
had cell phones. We had like the
No, we
Zach
didn't.
Morris
Like the
cell
Zach
phone.
Morris kind. But like,
Okay, thank you. I like you.
but I'm confused at like why he had that in his ear.
But he's
on
talking
a
to other
boat
Secret Service, though.
If it's just him.
No, it wouldn't
on
be
this
just
boat.
him. It would have to be so obviously because it's a short range earpiece. So he would have to. There was somebody. Obviously, there was somebody there in a van on the beach. I don't know. You're right, Jen. You make a good point.
Down by the river. It
What?
was a van down by the river.
Jen makes a good point. Maybe she just poked a hole in this whole thing. Okay, all right. So they basically, the woman was being monitored by Secret Service on her vacation, and so obviously there's some connection to upper people in the White House. We're gonna get to it. Hang in there. Your detective services are needed elsewhere. So are those floor lights that keep illuminating Diane Lane like she's a runway model around the 32-minute mark. That was the party scene.
So I think that's actually accurate to the what lighting would actually be like in that
You
room.
think?
But that did not necessarily serve the movie well.
Right. So basically, Wesley Snipes finds out that the guy in the photo that we've been talking about with the earpiece that Jen mentioned is actually there at this party, and he wants to question him about this dead woman that showed up in the bathroom early on. After 2 bourbons, she's telling me his underwear preference and that he would like to get laid in every room in the White House. Or get laid in every room of the White House. Oof, isn't that everyone's dream?
Yep.
All right. All right, everybody's in on that one. Okay, all right, well, keep moving on that one. He tails Tate Donovan. We should mention that Tate Donovan's really coming up. He's here now. He is the son of the president, who's Ronnie Cox, by the way. Ronnie Cox is not in the film yet. Tate Donovan is. Anyway, the son might be involved in having killed this woman that we mentioned at the beginning of the movie.
Also, it's important to mention they were at a dinner, a benefit for a domestic violence.
Oh, really? How ironic.
Yeah.
All right. As a result, Wesley Snipes starts tailing Tate Donovan, tails him to a club, and then ends up questioning a woman that used to date him. That's the woman that said that and gave him more information about Mr. Donovan. You walk in here expecting me to violate every oath I have ever taken. Well, of course. Wesley Snipes got to eat. I don't know what the minute mark on that one. Basically, he goes back to Miss Diane Lane's home. Shows up at her home.
Her giant home. I want to get that much square footage. Holy
Seriously.
crap.
What does she make?
That's like as big as like the Clintons' Georgetown home.
Yeah,
It's a huge home, and she opens the front door without wearing any pants.
I'm sorry. If somebody rings the doorbell, you put on pants.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, she has a massive home for what she makes on a salary.
If you're a serious like pantsuit wearing lady who's in the Secret Service, yeah.
You don't make that much money in the Secret Service, I can tell you.
No,
Especially, like she could see through the window that it was this detective. Like she knew this was a professional call. It wasn't like someone she was banging. So it was like put on pants, then open door.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, can we talk about how Wesley Snipes almost actually caught up to that car that was running away?
Yeah, we should mention, when he gets tailed, they're tailing him. And when he leaves the club, there's a car that speeds away. He tries to chase it down. He almost does catch him.
He does.
It's
Did you guys notice when he was in the club, he's walking around with an unlit cigar, and then he goes outside, he puts another one in his mouth, and now he's outside, so there's no smoking laws, doesn't like that one either, and then chases the car with that thing hanging out of his face. Like,
how much money is he wasting, though, on cigars that he's not smoking? Because I don't think he ever smokes during the entire film.
Not once.
Not once.
I
yeah.
just never seen smoke.
Nope, he has it in his mouth.
And soggy that must have been in his mouth.
Ew.
Can we talk about my favorite moment of this movie is the woman's like, "Can I buy you a drink?" And he's like, "What?"
That's it. It's right here. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Women have money?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
They also point out that Tate Donovan left the benefit with one blonde.
Yeah.
And then was basically having sex on the dance floor with another blonde.
Tate Donovan is every DC man I've dated. I swear to God.
There you go, folks.
I swear to God. This is what dating in DC is still like.
Ew.
Tate Donovan in this movie. Although I do love Tate.
With that same sport jacket, right? That oversized jacket he was wearing.
Hell yeah.
That big Pee-wee's Playhouse fucking jacket. It's massive, dude. Fucking idiot.
He looked like a Hue and Boat shoe.
That's very Georgetown. To be fair, that look is still pretty Georgetown.
Is it really?
No, I know. And for some reason, sometimes it works.
Did he plant the button? Lane and Snipes try to outshout each other around the 41-minute mark like they're playing on one of Jimmy Fallon's ridiculous late show games. You always get that scene where everybody, they have to try to outact each other. And Diane Lane, now to give her credit, she is a talented actress, but, Wesley Snipes is doing his Wesley Snipes. So, you got to dial it down, lady. Those guns speak for itself. I found him beating up his girlfriend, which is probably what Trump's Secret Service detail routinely says about his Beavis and Butthead kids. Hey-oh. Okay. So let's recap on this one. Diane Lane used to be on the detail that followed Tate Donovan around until one night she walked in on Tate Donovan, laying a fist on some chick, and it wasn't crazy about that and asked to be taken off the detail. The problem is, back in '97, this was kind of shocking. Today, this wouldn't even raise.
It's so gross.
It's really gross how far we've progressed politically, and we're so blasé.
Regress.
All right, let's go with regress. I guess that's a better. Beavis and Buttheads. If they started doing that shit, they'd be like, okay. Get Neil out. Bring our soldiers home. Replace Neil with Trump, and you have a pretty good idea of the protesting crowds for the next 4 years. That was outside the White House. So let's say President Neil, who is played by Ronnie Cox, there's a situation in North Korea where they're talking about invading North Korea. This is back in the time when North Korea was kind of a big deal. Anyway, there's protesters out there. But if you switch it out with Trump, same shit, guys. No, I finally found everything. And you couldn't look more obvious hiding something in your pants if you tried. 46-minute mark. Okay, so Miss Diane Lane decides to get on board with the Snipes mobile. She goes to get evidence from the evidence container room, I guess, in the Secret Service headquarters, wherever that fucking shit is. She smuggles some shit out in her pants. Which, again, I'm going to comment, those pants are terrible. And the fact that if she jammed that shit in her front, everybody would have noticed. It's a tight fit.
Well, especially the guy that was feeling her up.
What?
Oh my God, giving her this is like a sexual harassment training video.
That was what's his name? That was the guy that was the Top Gun guy. That was the bald-headed dude.
I'm sorry, or wouldn't you hear the paper rustling or something?
I know. She smuggles out a appointment book and an audio tape, a answering machine audio tape. Most of you people are not going to know what the hell that is. Google that shit. You can figure that stuff out. They used to have those back in the day. And as a result, she gets cornered in the office of the Benghazi guy, the Blofeld character. And he says this: you have to trust the people that you work with. Was anyone else waiting for the White House Blofeld to say, goodbye, Mr. Bond? He was totally a Bond. Guys, this guy would have been an awesome Bond villain. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me. I'm dating myself on some of this stuff.
But he would be better in Austin Powers.
Nina Chance. Find her and lock her down. Was anyone else singing ABBA at this point, or was that just me? Get it? Oh, God,
no.
I'm dating myself. Take a chance on me. Yeah, all right, well, somebody got it. No, forget it. Never mind.
But my favorite part of that whole scene where she's
okay, Jen,
running away
save me.
is when she goes down the fire escape and her hair's up. And then she lands on her feet and stands up and her hair falls perfectly.
Oh,
and
perfect.
She runs and it's down now.
Don't you ladies?
No, I actually appreciate that. I thought her hair fell out of her.
No, but don't you ladies hate that though?
Yeah,
because
fell out of the bun and then she
perfect.
But then she stands up and it's perfect.
But all three of you ladies,
it looked like one of her Pantene commercials.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a Pantene commercial. You ladies must hate that because all three of you on the show actually have long hair and you have great hair. All three of you have great hair. Don't you? Does that work? Does that actually happen or no?
No.
All the time.
Okay, I just want to
creased and crunchy from all that hairspray and be all weirdly creased together. It looks fucking horrifying.
Ew.
I would need some water, some wave spray, and
my God.
2 hours in a shower. I can do it.
Kudos to Diane Lane and her hair people. All right, so folks, I don't know what the minute mark. I apologize for that. But there's an action scene where she escapes from the Secret Service building and jumps on a fire escape, like Miss Briney said, and has amazing hair. She runs off into the distance. Your approval ratings had dropped 19%, or a hell of a lot more if you're the current president. 52-minute mark.
Seriously,
So,
no, haven't you heard he's so presidential now?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because he launched missiles without
And
Congress.
nobody buys that bullshit. No, yeah, nobody.
The media is, the pundits are.
No.
Which just shows you how out of a touch they are, because the rest of us aren't buying it.
No, we're not buying
I know,
it.
right?
So anyway, we should say they have a meet and greet with Ronnie Cox. Finally shows up on the screen. This is Ronnie Cox who played the villain in RoboCop, and he was a great villain here. Here he's actually turns out to be kind of a good guy, which is kind of weird, and a great actor, mind you, who's passed away. He's not. I don't think he's no longer with us. So anyway, he plays the president.
A lot
of
of
the United States.
dead people in this.
Okay, yeah.
20 years old.
Yeah,
We're old, kids.
I mean,
Mr. President, I feel like it's my duty to tell you that your lack of action borders on the criminal. Boy, if we had a nickel for every time we heard that statement in the last 4 months. Oh, yeah, we'll keep moving on
It's
that.
not bordering.
These people can make us disappear. That should have been 2 snaps, Lane, not 1 for that statement. That was a scene in her car where she says that. Now, she's on the run, and she hooks up with Wesley Snipes in a car, and she says that line, then she snaps her fingers. That's why I said it should have been 2 snaps. That joke might have been lost.
and then she says, like, I checked into a motel.
Yeah, why would you do that? Yeah, duh. That's
Did you pay in cash?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I thought
They would have found her. They would have found her immediately. You got to remember that they are pretty resourceful, and she wouldn't have gotten far before they would have picked her ass up. But we'll let it slide because we know this is a film, it's fictional. We got it. What is it, Mr. Neal? Have a date? Tate Donovan is the damn it. Tate Donovan is the slurring the Brock Lesnar of this mess. Damn. See, that was a better joke. If I could have got it out, but we'll keep going.
Yeah, no, I can't get over that he's supposed to be in his mid-20s.
Why is he acting like that? He's fucking
He was
a lot.
30 and
Was he
looked
really?
45.
Oh
Yes,
shit! Yeah.
he's aged into that 45 well.
Well, he looks
just
now.
looked like-
Now.
He just looked like 45 for about 15 years.
But that scene where they passed him the note, which first
Right.
of all, that note was ridiculous. How did
Right.
Wesley, or was it Wesley? Yeah, Wesley Snipes get the Secret Service stationery. Why would he pass that note not even in an envelope so that anyone can read it?
Exactly.
And he was giving it to him in a college classroom. That's when I was like, wait, what the fuck? This guy is
I
way
know,
too
right?
old to be in college. It completely threw me off. Everything about that scene.
Spikings. He could have smuggled them out. Hey, where can I get a copy of that Commodore 64 voice recognition program that shows up on the hour and 2 minute mark?
Oh my God.
Mr. Snipes and Miss Lane go into a black diner for some reason. She's the only white person in that diner.
Well,
but
wait,
okay.
we're cutting past the Snipes.
Well, he
and
shakes down Tate
Tate
Donovan, but I
conversation.
that wasn't
No,
that
he
much to that
He
scene.
grabs
boy.
a gun out of his pocket.
Is that what
And
that was?
Yeah, it was a gun. Yeah, he had a gun in his
was a
pocket.
I couldn't tell. I
then
really
the-
That's because you were
And
paying
then-
attention to his
and
guns.
Then throws the gun back at him like Kendall Jenner handing a cop a Pepsi.
Hey-o.
Well, that's what threw me off. I was like, who throws a gun like that? Was
Nobody
it actually
does.
a gun? Because it was so nonchalant. Just like, oh, here
Right.
you go, buddy.
Yeah, you
I
don't
think
do
you're
that.
a murderer, but here's this gun.
Well, yeah, you were distracted by his metaphorical guns. So that's
Well,
okay. Yeah, I know.
there
I
is
know.
that.
Yeah, there is that. See, yeah, she was all starry-eyed for most of the movie.
And do you know who I am? Dumbass. Everybody knows who you are.
Secret Service, back door. Since when do cheap hotel rooms have a back door? Or Poland or back door standard issue in DC hotel rooms?
No. No.
But they do go out the back door. The Secret Service shows up and she says, wait, back door. No fucking hotel room
Is
is
this a metaphor or not?
well, all right. You want the spotlight? Become a rock star. How did Snipes not get picked up by the Secret Service by this point? Now, let me explain what happened. They get chased from the hotel room, and they have this action scene where they escape the Secret Service by overturning a car and then blowing it up, and then Jen mentioned earlier, shooting at a helicopter to knock out the light. So the helicopter just magically goes away because they don't have any other helicopters in Washington, D.C. to pick up the fucking slack as Wesley Snipes and Diane Lane escape into some underbrush in D.C., which doesn't exist. It's all concrete. There's no fucking parks, except for the main one. And as a result, they end up, Snipes shows up for work the next day like nothing's wrong. Wait a minute. Why didn't they fucking
And
pick him
goes
up?
jogging with the National Security Advisor.
That's what I said.
Oh my God. And Wesley Snipes is soaked in sweat, and Alan Alda is like dewy.
Right, he shot at federal officers and he blew up a car. This is the hour and 6 minute mark. And he literally shows up to work. There's all these reporters out there. He blows them off and goes to the job like it's a normal day. Guess what? He would have been picked. He would have found his ass. And they would have found Diane Lane as well. But, there's only so much you can suspend disbelief.
Oh, no.
They're either
also,
on the run or they're not.
I think Washington is drowning in a sea of its own bullshit. Well, at least Washington is consistent. Okay, yeah, we have any idea.
Oh, what a controversial and original opinion.
So basically, like Jen said, he goes running with the National Security Advisor, which is Steve Bannon of that time, which is Alan Alda. And of course...
Hey. You do not mention
all right.
Alan Alda's name.
with Steve Bannon. All right, we should... Well, Steve Bannon got downgraded, so that guy's done anyway. We don't have to worry about it.
Hey, don't jinx it.
What are you going to do? Put the president in a lineup? How do you cast Dennis Miller in your shitty political thriller and not give him any decent jokes? That's like casting Pauly Shore in just about anything and telling him not to act like an asshole. Hey-o.
Agreed.
All right, thank
you.
you.
Maybe it was his rage.
Jen's offended. I know Jen's offended.
Led to his conservative punditry.
Dennis Miller.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot of that shit because it was Dennis Miller. Like, I can't accept him as an actor because I've seen him so often speak politically. So from the very beginning, I was like, I can't take this guy seriously.
No, he's not funny. He's a talented.
The weird thing is, I grew up with him on Weekend Update, where he was fairly liberal, leaned left.
I've only known him in the last 10 years.
Really?
So.
And then it was shocking. Well, my mom liked him, and then that's her shame
but
now.
Miller is naturally funny and he can come up with his own material. When you cast somebody like that, let them do their own thing and then edit around that. They don't let him do that, and it's a shame because he would have gave gold. His rant things when he did his show were fucking brilliant. Like, just let him do his thing.
I don't know.
He was just, he showed up in this and that bordello of blood nonsense from Tales from the Crypt. Anybody remember that fucking thing?
I have seen that movie more than once, and I am so
might have been
ashamed.
before Jen's time. She might have missed that one, but that's a who too.
I think I watched a solid 10 minutes of that movie when I was a kid and was scarred for life.
Yeah, that's about right for you. Sit down while I go put out this small kitchen fire at the hour and 14-minute mark. So he finds out that Daniel Benzali, we're talking about the White House Blofeld character we mentioned
what
a lot earlier.
What was his name, like Sticky or Stinky or...
Spiking. It's not Stinky. Spikings. Anyway, he finds out that Spikings was involved in this cover-up about who killed this blonde woman, which we're getting to, folks. We promise. As a result, what's his name? Wesley Snipes goes to his house, and they have too much smoke. It's the effect smoke in the background. That's why I said small kitchen fire. All right, that joke got completely lost. Maybe two people will get that. I see my life and my service get completely shot to hell because you were dumb enough to stand in front of a window during your confessional speech.
But he saw those tapes, and I don't get it. Like, why was he being such an asshole?
Who? Mm-hmm. Spikings?
If he didn't have something to cover up.
I know, the Bond villain? Yeah, exactly. And yes, he does. But it's obvious, guys. You guys know he's up to something. Well, only because of his line delivery, which sucks. No subtlety, guys.
He was up to something good, though.
Well, yeah, okay, but regardless, he's up to something, which is a leading thing for the audience for the through running time until you get to this scene where he ends up getting shot in front of a window because everybody's stupid dumb to stand in front. Jen Briney doesn't even have windows in her house right now because she's doing her podcast and she bricked all that shit up. So
yeah, I basically just live in a tornado shelter.
They'll still find
their way in. Jen with the win. Jen with the win on that one. Thank you. I thought you were a sharpshooter. That actually may be the funniest line of the film. I thought that line was funny. No.
Can we
Polton
talk
had
about,
a problem with that.
Earlier when they get in the fight with the second henchman, like that prolonged fight. They're trying to get the guns. He can't get the gun. He gets control of him. Doesn't get the gun. Struggles to break his neck.
Yeah, and doesn't even do that.
What?
Yeah.
No, he breaks his neck.
Oh, does he?
And
okay.
And then he's a cop, but can't tell if a gun's loaded or not.
I know.
Well, and remember when he was picking the gun, there were two guns sitting next to each other. So he's like, which one should I choose? It's like, both, asshole.
It's another lame action scene, folks.
Yeah,
really.
He could tell that Charles Rocket had the safety on.
Oh, that's funny, right? But he couldn't tell there was a gun. Very good. All right, Griffin with the win on that. Nice going. Everybody has a price, including Alan Alda for playing yet another good guy turned third act villain at the hour 19-minute mark. Boy, I'm tired of seeing Alan Alda wrap out his career doing the same type of role. He's done this in a couple different films where he starts to be a good guy and he turns out to be a stupid villain. He's terrible at the back end of this. And I like Alan Alda a lot, for you people who know who Alan Alda is. What do you want? Your resignation. We only wish it was that easy to get rid of our president. So basically, Alan Alda is the uber villain. He wants to incite a war with Korea, but Mr. Ronnie Cox as the president is being a super pussy and doesn't want to do that. So in order to do that, he has to frame Ronnie Cox's son, Tate Donovan, for murdering that blonde chick we mentioned ages ago in the bathroom.
But Ronnie Cox thinks that his son actually did
Right. So as a result, he's trying to force him into resigning so Alan Alda can swear in the vice president, which is the Mike Pence of this piece, into starting a war with Korea.
I
know. I hope that doesn't go down like that, folks, but there you go. You have failed, Mr. President. You have failed your office. I wonder how many times a day Trump hears this statement.
Never.
From the people around them.
I don't know. You don't think so? You don't think people are saying that?
Are you paying
Not
attention?
to his face.
You don't. I don't know. You don't think so?
Are you paying attention?
No.
You think there's a lot of dick sucking still going on at this point?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, even worse.
The only way they can control him is to placate his ego.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just asking questions, guys. All right. You should have brought those AWAC boys home. I was in MASH, for God's sakes. Don't make me overact in this scene. Yeah, we're 23-minute mark. Poor Alan Alda. He goes way over the top on this. I like Alan Alda. He's a compelling actor. I've always loved him in MASH and everything he's done. But here, God, man, just standard talking villain syndrome. We've seen him. And he talks at the end, too. We're not even really to the end of it, but we're getting there.
His best role is in crossword puzzles.
What? What the hell is that?
He's in, like, every crossword puzzle.
Oh, the actual. Oh, that's funny. All right, we're going to give Jen with the win on that one. All right. Nice job. All right. Why? Because I'm about to help a government that's kicking me out on the street or putting me in jail. So what happens is Wesley Snipes teams up with Diane Lane to help bring down they have to get to the White House to stop Ronnie Cox from signing the order to not be the president anymore so they can swear in Mike Pence.
They hear it on the news.
Right.
The
and
news.
they have 2 hours to get to the White House. I don't even know if this is possible. Polton with the traffic? I don't think you can get that.
Not good.
Okay, thank you. We're running out of time. So let's just beat apart this padlock instead of picking it quickly like you did the last one. So their plan is to go into the tunnels, which we mentioned way earlier, that are underneath Washington, which do exist. But to get into the initial tunnel, you have to go by the Washington Monument. I guess that there's a gate there, which I wasn't aware of. You can sneak down into and then get into the actual tunnels, which will take you all the way to the White House. So as a result, they get in through the first one, they pick the lock, but at the second one, they have to beat it apart. That's what I was talking about. And as a result, there's a killer that was in earlier in the scenes is now chasing him through the tunnels. And we have another.
Well, and the entrance to this tunnel is being guarded by 2 fat national park guys,
national park.
And it's being locked with like a zip tie.
Also, can we talk about like Dennis Miller's Russian mobster jogging suit?
Oh yeah, that was like he helped him. He helped him.
That was epic.
Paul, you've been to the Washington. Have you seen this gate? Have you know where this grate is?
I'm
Are
don't want
we
to burst
taking
in with
this as a
bubble.
documentary?
Think about it, dude. Like, Bin Laden would have gotten under there if that was a real thing.
I know. It's really a dumb place to put that grate. And yes, there are tunnels that do exist, but I don't think they empty out at the Washington Monument. I could be wrong on this. Now, I could be completely wrong. I don't know. I'm not sure there's history buffs listening to the show are probably giving me shit right now. But, yeah, just send us an email. We'll figure it out. You're under
A lot
arrest.
of people have just been trying to YOLO and run over the gate.
Well,
That's how we've been handling things these
Okay.
days.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks. You're under... Jesus Christ. You're under arrest. Drop your weapon. And be careful not to bang into that flimsy concrete wall too much. We just finished the set. Hour and 34-minute mark. So, they get all the way to the White House, but of course there's that guarded shit with Resident Evil fucking... laser light, which you trip in and the alarm goes off. So the Secret Service show up. Snipes hides up in a vent while Diane Lane distracts him so he can get into the White House.
No, he just kind of stares at her until she agrees to take the fall.
Right, yeah, she takes the fall. But you remember when she knocked that guy at the top of the stairs, she hit the wall by accident. That's why I said flimsy concrete wall, because it wobbled, which was really funny.
No, I know, but I mean, like, when they were talking about, he goes, how long do we have?
Right.
Oh, about 10 seconds. And he goes, okay, we can't go back now.
Right.
And then kind of waited for her to be like,
oh, yeah, she's like, all right, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Mr. President, your son is innocent. Time to finally Jessica Fletcher this case up around the hour and 38-minute mark. Whoo! So Mr. Snipes gets into the White House and gets to a position where he's able to confront the president before he resigns.
Oh, by the way,
and
after
dump
he
out
gets
all of
into
this information.
A fight in the elevator, which was like a Batman
That was a terrible
thing
fight.
with
That
a
was
sound effect.
I know there was a Batman fight in the elevator. Anyway, he gets meets the president. He tells the president, look, I got this videotape attached to my back, which they rip off his back and hand to the president, saying that's the evidence to prove that Alan Alda is actually the villain who ended up who ordered the killing of this woman in the bathroom and all this other stuff. Ronnie Cox says, arrest him. And that's what I said. You're going to take the word of a black man who pulled a B&E at the White House without even looking at the tape first? I still call bullshit on that.
This wrapped up like the end of a Law and Order episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really
Everything
did.
just
It
came
really
together
did.
real quick.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, all right, all right.
But he's got a
Oh,
point. He didn't look at the video.
No,
and
he
he's
should've looked at
taking
it.
This guy who's never seen before,
Right.
he's taking his opinion
Right.
over someone he's known for 30 years and is the
Right.
godfather to his child.
That's what
He's
I'm
like,
saying.
Oh, I believe the janitor.
She was a casualty of war, and I find it highly unlikely that Ronnie Cox as president would grow a pair of nuts and punch Alda in the face this late in the game. Didn't Harrison Ford already pull this heroic presidential act in Air Force One, which was released
is
the same
a
year? Yeah.
Better movie.
And a much better film,
Like,
folks.
way
Yeah,
better.
just go watch that shit. There is absolutely no truth to any of those rumors. Once again, I am White House puppet Melissa McCartney, and that is all the information we have at the hour and 41-minute mark. McCarthy, I'm sorry, I had to get her name right. McCarthy. Sean Spicer shows up at the back end of this movie, just doling out the same bullshit he's been doling out since he started. Nothing's changed in 20 years, guys. Same crap. And he looks kind of like him, too, which I thought was really funny. It's kind of deja vu. I guess it's really uncanny. Some of the stuff that happens in this film and some of the political climate we're going through now. Thank God we have Melissa McCarthy. Or McCarthy. McCarthy, I can't pronounce her name.
Okay, it's not Paul McCartney's daughter, okay?
That would be awesome. In 180 years, there's never been a penetration of the White House. And then I wrote, hey
I know.
Okay.
We're like, oh my God.
That was Melissa McCartney. Or McCarthy. Damn it. I'll get that right eventually. Saying that shit. Way to fuck off on that one. With apologies to her. What are you doing for dinner? Snipes closes out this lame film by trying to hit up the president for a free meal. Classy.
One thing that really bothered me is like the entire motivation for Alan Alda orchestrating all this shit was that there was this North Korea thing.
Right.
There were like
Bringing the boys
13
home.
hostages.
Oh, look, and I'm not the only
Now
one
I'm
drunk.
stuttering. But he's trying to save this group of Americans that were taken hostage by the North Koreans.
Hostage or hostages?
And at the end of the movie, we never find out what happens to them.
No, that's
It's
the
like
problem.
a big
There's
deal.
no payoff. There's no
And
payoff.
also, he doesn't mind like sacrificing an innocent American life as a collateral of war.
They do that all the
Guess
time.
not.
All right, so yeah, but there's a lot of issues at the end of the movie. Griffin on credits? Griff, was there anything at the end of the credits?
No.
No. Oh, man. This movie sucked.
Bad.
It is really bad. It doesn't hold up. We all agree on that one. It holds up in the sense that the political climate is eerily like the political climate now, which I thought that's kind of the big takeaway from this. After watching this one, I'm like, whew. All right, so there you go, folks. That is Murder 1600 for this week. Boy, we took it on play with a lot longer than we should have. Can we flush it, ladies? Can we please flush it?
Flush it down the secret tunnel.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. Yeah, hey, we finally got at least one. Consider it
Finally.
consider it flushed. I want to thank my lovely co-cinematic flushers, Midwest movie mogul Colleen Griffin, and Cecily Cinephile Sarah Polton. Great job as always, ladies. I want to thank our very special guest, Jennifer Briney from Congressional Dish podcast. Jen!
You were awesome.
Jen, you were really awesome.
So great. Yeah.
That was really fun.
We really appreciate you having on the show. We hope you come back to join us for some other nonsense in the future. Folks, go check out her show.
fun.
For God's sakes, go to congressionaldish.com. Link is in the show notes. Go check out her podcast. She's doing great work on her show in the political climate and disseminating everything that's happening there. So please go down, subscribe, rate, and review her show. She needs the love. I want to give a special shout out to Margie over at interviewconnections.com. Margie was the one who hooked us up with Jennifer Briney. She's the one who recommended Jen to be on the show. Go figure that shit out. Great job, Margie. Appreciate that. We're going to be back next week to torture you with something else. Until then, say goodbye, ladies.
Bye.
That's pretty sloppy. Again, every week.
Okay,
Like
you're
DC.
gonna criticize us about being sloppy.
Lap it up.
Hi, this is Nora Crest, and I want to thank you for listening this week and every week as we flush these turds down our cinematic bowl here in the restroom. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play Music so we attract more listeners and you don't miss a single episode. We love feedback, so email us at signalsoffury@gmail.com with your comments and suggestions for future flushes. Also, be sure to check out our home restroom on the net, signalsoffury.com. Until next time, remember, we're here to flush it so you don't have to see it. I'm Nora Crest, and this has been the award-winning Soiled Restroom Cinema.